But I thought it was really interesting how in our language and the way we relate to people, we joke and we tease. In fact, as I was driving over here this morning, I don't actually confess to this, but I was listening to Radio 2 and it's called Steve Wright's Romantic Songs, whatever it was. So he's on holiday, so somebody else was doing it. And there was a survey of how people relate, how people find love. And one of the telltale signs, and it's apparently number 2 in this kind of survey that was done, is that you tease people. You tease, but you say things that you don't mean. And if you think about it, you think about your friendships and your relationships, the people that you're comfortable with, you joke with, and you say things that you don't mean. Again and again and again. I have some really good, strong, teasing relationships with people. And they're the people that I'm closest to. And, I have a conversation with somebody, and it's insult after insult after insult. And yet we're just absolutely getting on like a house on fire and loving it. That's the way we do it very often, isn't it? People you're not sure of, you don't tease. You don't use irony. You're not jocular with and so on. So it's with that in mind that I want us to read Matthew chapter 15, verse 21 and following. And it's a kind of difficult passage, this. And I'm fool enough to have a crack at a difficult passage. But this is this episode where Jesus was out of territory, and it seems like he wants a retreat. He just wants to be away from the busyness of people. And he's met by a lady who's got a need. So verse 21, Matthew 15. Leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him, crying out, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter's suffering terribly from demon possession. Jesus did not answer a word. Pause there. That seems pretty hard, doesn't it? If somebody comes to you and starts talking to you and says, look, I've got a terrible need, can you help? And it's just a kind of, not a word, a stony silence. So I could be talking about unanswered prayer this morning, couldn't I? I could be talking about some of the situations in our lives where we have prayed about something and all we've got is nothing. Zero. Stony silence. Seems hard, but I wonder if there's something that's going on here. This lady says Jesus did not answer a word. So his disciples came to him and urged him, send her away, for she keeps crying out. And actually in Mark's account of this, it seems like she'd been bothering the disciples, and the disciples are coming to Jesus and saying, help, get this woman off our hands, she keeps at us. So she comes to Jesus. They say, send her away. And he answered, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. Now you need to understand, he was out of territory. He was in a Gentile area, Tyre and Sidon. She was a Syro-Phoenician woman, so she wasn't a Jew. And so Jesus is saying, sorry, my ministry doesn't extend beyond the borders of Israel. Question mark, was he? Because that's what it looks like on surface reading. He answered, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. The woman came and knelt before him. Lord, help me, she said. And he replied, it's not right to take the children's bread and toss it to their dogs. And dogs was a way that the Jews would speak of Gentiles. So is Jesus really saying everybody who's not a Jew is, as it were, a dog? Sounds really hard, doesn't it? And she says, yes, Lord, she said, but even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table. Then Jesus answered, woman, you have great faith. In fact, in Mark's account, it says, for this reply, she'll get what she wanted. He said, your request is granted. And her daughter was healed from that very hour. It's just, on surface reading, this looks a pretty hard passage, doesn't it? But I think there's something which is fascinating here, and I hope that you can find something in here which is really encouraging and actually discovering something at the heart of Jesus which is astounding to us when we were singing a few moments ago, I stand amazed in the presence of Jesus the Nazarene. And actually the whole notion for us this morning, that Jesus himself is here through his Holy Spirit, and we stand in the presence, or we sit in the presence of Jesus the Nazarene. You know, he is here. He's here present by his Holy Spirit. And when we catch glimpses of what he is really like, we are amazed. And actually we can see beyond the stony silence to a heart of love and to a power that changes situations. So, here we go. I've read it as it is. It seems like it's unkind words, but now I want you to look at it again with another view, with a different kind of perspective on it. More the perspective that I was talking about earlier, of teasing, of irony, of jocular insults, as it were. Now, I'm not saying this is as it was, but I think there's an aspect of this that we miss. And I think in it, there's an aspect of our relationship with Jesus Christ which we need to discover afresh. So I'm wanting to ask the question, how well do we know him? How well do we know him? Is it possible that Jesus has a sense of humour? Is it possible that Jesus has a sense of humour? Don't you think humour is a God thing? When it's pure, rather than the kind of sordid thing that so often is portrayed on TV. But don't you think humour is a gift of God? And is it possible that Jesus has a sense of humour? And is it possible that there's just a little strand, a wisp of humour here, a twinkle in his eye as he speaks with this woman? And as he takes popular understanding of Jews and Gentiles and parodies that, and actually draws out of this woman a response of faith.